and I'm very well aware that we all know we are very well aware of what the breast is. Now, when we talk about the cancer of the breast, I don't know if we can hear me clearly.
Okay, please, if you can hear Val, can you raise your hand, please? If you can hear very well, please raise your hand so we'll start. Okay. Val, some people can hear you. Okay. Let's continue then.
All right, thank you very much. So, as the name implies, breast cancer basically involves cancer of the breast, and it doesn't just involve the women, because most times a lot of people, 98% of people, basically believe that breast cancer involves only women. That is not true, because we have cases of breast cancer in men. However, it's of very little percentage. So, I would start with explaining what cancer means. And whenever you hear cancer, it means that there's something growing in your body, and not just something growing in your body. It means that that thing that is growing in your body is spreading. You understand? Certain times we have certain growths on our body, but it remains there till it goes, or till someone removes it, or before you go to the hospital and it's been excised or removed and the rest of them. But then a cell is said to be cancerous when it starts growing, and from there it spreads to other parts of the body from its origin. That's what we call cancer. That's the simplest form of explanation that I can give for cancer. And then this spread is usually very fast, and usually within a less expected period of time. You find out that, let's say you have a cancer cell here, let's say we are seeing a cancer cell physically. You have a cancer cell, before 24 hours you see about 10 cells. This is how it keeps spreading. So let's say someone has breast cancer, it can spread from your breast to your lungs to the liver and the rest of them. Let's say it starts from one breast, it can spread to the other breast and then proceed. You understand? So whenever we hear cancer, I would love us to understand that cancer means that there is a growth. When a growth is not cancerous, it's usually called a tumor. You understand? And medical name benign. But then when it's cancerous, you now name it malignant. It's a malignant growth, meaning that it can spread. I hope you understand to this extent. Okay, so I would continue. Certain times we hear of breast lumps, and just like I explained earlier, tumors that are called benign are more like growths that are not malignant or that are not cancerous. So certain people, I know most of us have heard of breast lumps, is more like a less form or a benign form of breast cancer. What I mean is, for certain people, when they have breast lumps and they are not aware that they have breast lumps, you find out that that breast lump now proceeds into being cancerous, meaning that the cells that usually was not spreading starts to multiply, starts to spread with a lot of factors, a lot of growth factors that are involved, which I will not like to bother us with. So it starts getting a lot of hormonal stimulations and growth hormone stimulations, and then it starts spreading. So most times you find out that when people have breast lumps, there is no knowledge that you have breast lumps. It proceeds, or it advances to breast cancers. Yeah, so that is why at the end of this lecture, before the end of the lecture, we would have to talk about breast self-examination and how you can depict that you have lumps and how you can manage it as well. So we'll move forward to sites of breast cancer, I mean the locations of breast cancer. Uh, I don't know, Alfred is supposed to be present. I have some pictures that would help us to understand this better.
Alfred, please, can you help us put the pictures up so that it will be easy for explanation?
Okay, yeah. For me to be able to explain these sites, please can you zoom in? Alfred, please can you zoom in?
Alfred, please, can you zoom the picture? All right, thank you.
All right, upwards, please, so I can see the parts. Yeah, all right, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, from the diagram, we can see the lobes, we can see the lobe, we can see fat, we can see nipple, we see areola, we see ducts. These are the basic parts of the breast. And then I would start from lobes. Now, lobes basically means like where your breast milk is being produced. Now you have an association of or coming together of lobules makes up your lobe. You understand? Now, within those lobes, as those breast milk is being produced, it goes through the ducts and then forward into the nipple where for suckling for a baby, you can now suck through, right? Now, another thing is the fat. Of course, most are the different. We have for every woman, they have different sizes of breasts. So it's the fat that depicts whether your breast is bigger or smaller or whatever it is that you have at the time. Then you now have the nipple, that's self-explanatory. You have the areola, which is the part, darkened part that surrounds the nipple. For some people, it's pink. However, during pregnancy, you find out that it's a little darkened and swollen, and the rest of that. Okay, so I think I've explained everything that we have here. The reason I put up this picture is because for the sites of breast cancer, most of the classification is basically from the site. So that means that for lobules, we can have lobular cancer. And that means what it basically means is that the cancer is starting from the lobules of the breast. You understand? So I think Alfred should move to the next picture. Yes, so this is a diagram having to show us that when you look at the right extremes, the upper part, you find out that there is cancer in the lobules. You can see the cancer cells within the lobules and you can see the normal one. So it basically means that for this type of cancer, I'm trying to explain that for types of breast cancer particularly, you have the first, which is the lobular breast cancer. And that means, as the name implies, it means that the breast cancer is starting from the lobules of the breast. You understand? And I explained earlier that lobules of the breast means or is the site where breast milk is produced from. So we move to the next diagram, and that shows us the ductal cancer. As the name implies, it means that is the site or it's cancer of the ducts of the breast. You understand? And I explained earlier that your lobules come together to form your lobes, and then your ducts. Okay, let's use mere example. You have a tank that is giving you water, right? So let's say you have three tanks and there's only one source of exit. So those three tanks are your lobules. Each of the tanks is your lobules. If there's a connection between, if they come together, if those three tanks come together, it makes up a lobe, right? Now that lobe, for each tank, you have to have an exit. So that exit that you control as a normal human being, you open a tank or you open a tank filled with water to allow water to pass through. It has to pass through the duct. So that thing that you're opening is the duct. So when you have cancer cells in the lobules, which I explained as the different tanks, is called lobular cancer, lobular breast cancer. Then when you have cancer cells in that tap itself that helps the water to pass through is called what? Ductal breast cancer. Then you now have the next, which is cancer. I don't think I have a picture here, but you have the next, which is cancer of the nipples. It means that the cancer cells are particularly in the nipples, and we have the name as Paget disease of the breast. I don't think I should bother you with that. Now, these are the three I actually want to explain because those are the most important. And amongst these three, you have the least common one as the one that occurs in the nipple, the most common one as the one that occurs in the lobules, and then secondly, the one that occurs in the duct. So we have from least to most, you have the nipple, you have the ducts, and then you have the lobules. I think I explained it from most to least, you understand. There are also other uh, other types of breast cancers, but for clarity's sake, I would love us to just have this three in mind. So next, we are going to go to causes of breast cancer. Generally, most of these cancers, if not aside the breast cancer, the cause is usually unknown. However, there are various factors that predispose individuals to these cancers. And remember that we are talking of just breast cancer. So, and these are called the risk factors, right? And then we have the ones that we can modify, we have the ones that we cannot modify. The ones that you cannot modify, for example, is your age. You cannot modify your age. You are aging, I mean, you cannot go back. You understand? Yes. You also have your race. For people that are Caucasians, that's people that are not Africans, people, the whites, they are more predisposed to having cancers because of the kind of food that they eat and the weather that they are predisposed to. aside us. So we have that Caucasians are more predisposed to having cancer, breast cancers than ourselves.